Criticism is something that all football players have to deal with. I nevertheless expected legends to behave like legends. My advice to these former Gunners: stop talking and start supporting.
If only we had an ex-Arsenal player here on the couch.
You read that.
What an absolutely ridiculous statement. What? Why? If he played for Arsenal like he does for Germany, then we'd have no arguments. He's supposed to be the top player. He's the creator. He's the player.
He's playing with good players for Germany.
Look, we love this football club. All the ex-players, we love Arsenal Football Club. The way that they treat us now is no different than when we were treated before. It's fantastic. That's why we're concerned about what's going on the field. I mean, it's a shambles off the field with Gazidis and Wenger because it's been a disastrous transfer window.
Gazidis said it was a good transfer window.
Well, that's what he knows.
Said it was a good one.
Do you think it was a good one?
No, nobody in the right
But nobody
mind.
does. That's the whole point. He's got to forget all this rubbish about answering the Twitter people and the public. He's got to put his boots on and play football. Get after it.
Here's a guy, Mesut Ozil, who is clearly a talent, right? Clearly a talent, but does it when it suits him. Not particularly in the bigger games for Arsenal. And he's talking about ex-players, that he wants the ex-players, and there are quite a few Arsenal ex-players, like there are Chelsea and Man United. They all pander to the clubs, right? Because they want to get in, and they want to get their dinner, and they want to get
How's that working out for you?
Wined and dined and match days. I'm still waiting on invite from the next club, right? I'd rather be on the outside looking in, because here what you've got with Mesut Ozil. He's criticising former players for criticising, saying get behind us and support us. Oh, and by the way, in the meantime, I'm just going to sit back and hold the club to ransom on a £300,000 a week contract or whatever it is. He's not signed, is he?
No.
So he's not exactly supporting his club by not signing a contract, but they've got to get behind him whilst he makes his mind up. I think
it's got a point. Just the fact is that Germany have got better players.
Absolutely.
So that's why he plays better.
Listen, when you sign a player like Mesut Ozil, you have to get him in the ball in the attacking third of the field. And if you do that, then he shows for Germany what he's capable of. But if you're going to ask Mesut Ozil to come back to the halfway line or deeper and chase people and tackle people and harry people, it's not happening. So when he's playing in a team...
So why they want to re-sign him at 300 grand a week? If he can't do the things that is demanded of top players in the Premier League, why are they offering this ridiculous contract then? If he's a liability, I must say, when Lacazette came, and I thought, OK, Sanchez is going to stay. I never thought he would, but he has done. And I thought, Özil, Sanchez, supplying Lacazette, I thought, yeah, I'll have some of that. Where is it?
Even Gazidis said it was a great transfer window because we kept Alexis Sanchez. He's going to leave in 12 months for nothing. Yep. And in that 12 months, he's going to be swinging the lead. He ain't going to be bothered.
Well, plus they were going to take 65 million off City to let him go, but Lamar said, I want to go and play for Liverpool.
So how are you going to get, right?
It's a mess.
Hey, if you're not going to give Ozil his 300 and you're going to let Sanchez
You're just
go,
telling me that he doesn't do the right things in the Premier League.
No, hold on. So how are you going to go and sign players to get Arsenal back to the top of the Premier League or back in the Champions League? Because if I'm a player and I'm watching Arsenal, everybody's jumping ship. So why would I go there?
So you're making the case that Mesut Ozil, one of the best midfield players in the world, you know, decent creator.
Surround him with some quality players and he'll produce. So that's what happens when he plays for Germany.
We've said on this show many times about the recruitment at Arsenal, that the central midfield players, you know, he doesn't know what system to play. Is he playing three at the back? Is Bellerin on the left-hand side? It's all over this show. It's got everything to do with it because it goes into the recruitment of the club.
Into the season, and by his own admission, Arsene Wenger has already said Arsenal are facing a crisis. Paul Mariner, everyone knows what's gone on in the window, disastrous as it was for Arsenal. How does Arsene Wenger go about fixing all of the problems now?
That is a massive question. He's got to start having meetings, individual meetings, collective meetings, the leaders of the group. Whoever he thinks the leader of that dressing room is, he's got to get them in, he's got to talk to them. He's got to find out what system he's going to employ, because the players in the building, they'll dictate the system, not the coach. He's been swapping around. There's no settled formation or settled system. So this is a massive task for Wenger. You know, and is he up to the task? This is the question. You know, we're hearing, you know, some of our colleagues over in the UK are saying there's no coaching going on. This is an absolute diabolical situation for Arsenal. This is critical. It's critical mass. They've got a lovely game at home to Bournemouth on Saturday, but he has got to get to work. Unfortunately, the players are away on international duty, so it's going to be a big ask. But it's meetings. You know what, Ross? Just come to my thought there that the pre-season with a football team, as a footballer, is the most critical time. You get your fitness, you get everything bedded in, you get your systems, whether you're going to switch to 4-4-2, whether you're going to go to a back three, as he has been doing. That's where you do all your best work, and it's gone.
Time after time over the last 10 years, he's gone through tough spells during the season. It never appears to be this early on, though, with this magnitude of issues facing him with the want-away players. He gave a very strange quote. This is a quote that he gave just off the back of that Liverpool game. He says, "I've been at Arsenal for 20 years, and you ask yourself all the time if you should continue leading the club." And obviously everyone else is asking him that as well. And also because we suffered quite a bit during the season. It's a very strange quote.
Would you really want the head of your company saying that? But I certainly wouldn't. Ron Greenwood, Bobby Robson, Don, all the great managers that I worked under, you never heard ridiculous statements like that coming out of their mouths. It was always togetherness. We always knew what our plan was. We always knew, you know, if we play 4-3-1-2 or we play 4-4-2, whatever system, we'll ram it down the opposition's throat until they submit. Whereas with the Arsenal, it's so up in the air. It's a massive puzzle. They need leaders. The one leader, Sanchez, I don't know where his mind is at the moment, or when he gets back to London for the game on Saturday. He was the only leader that I saw. Cristiano to a certain degree, yes. But then you start going through that group. Who are the leaders? Who are going to pull the team together on match day when it's not going quite well? And I don't know, because that quote that you just said there from Wenger, it's a strange one. It doesn't... It's weird.
They've played a back three different permutations of that back three in 3 games so far. He only plays a back three because he stumbled on it last season, because he was trying to fit Oxlade-Chamberlain into it. Oxlade-Chamberlain's gone now. So is it a complete rethink from him, or does he just try and settle it down, try and paper over some cracks?
I think he's a little bit stymied at the moment. I think he's got to keep playing a 3 until he can work with the players in training and either hone this system down, you know, with the right players in the right places, or you know, slowly but surely slide to maybe that back 4. Bellerin playing left-hand side as a wing-back, it doesn't work. It's all about balance. Players have got to be comfortable when they go out and playing in their roles. You know, you think about... I was getting excited when Wenger said that Sanchez is staying. I thought, OK, Özil, Sanchez and Lacazette, that's a dynamite front 3. I thought, you know, the supply lines for Lacazette, he's a great finisher, that's going to be fantastic. But then, as the transfer window was coming to a close, we're not selling Sanchez, he's staying. Then all of a sudden, 65 million is put on the table. Oh, we're going to get Lamar, and they couldn't get that over the line. So therefore, Sanchez is going now. No, he's not going. He's staying. It's just an absolute shambles. And Gazidis and Wenger and whoever the powers are above the head coach there, they've got a lot to answer for, because this season is in tatters.
Poor planning then, and poor mood from the players returning from international duty. As Paul says, they've got Bournemouth at the weekend. That should possibly give them an opportunity to sort some of these problems out. Or will it?
Mentioned it before. Thomas Lemar, what went down there? Why didn't he join Arsenal?
So, from what I've been told, the Lemar situation is this. Monaco were just adamant that they were not going to sell. This held true for much of the summer. Lemar's people said, well, wait, you know, once they sold Mbappe, they said, you know what, maybe we can get out. And once he was linked to Liverpool, they became convinced, well, you know what, maybe we can go, maybe we can sell Alexis, take the money and use that money to go and buy Lemar, and then we've got something to be excited about. Problem is, Thomas Lemar at the same time was preparing for and playing in a crucial international for France against Holland. Even with some of his France teammates who play for Arsenal, like Koscielny and Giroud, trying to convince him to come over, he said, guys, I'm not going to make a key career decision right now, minutes before we have to play in this crucial qualifier. And so at that point, that deal was dead. And at that point, when Arsenal still could have sold Alexis Sanchez, they said, well, no, well, we're going to need him because we haven't got Lamar. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Stuart Robson, how things have changed for Arsenal Football Club. Craig was talking about it earlier, about the fact that 10, 12 years ago, part of the Invincibles, how you wanted to be part of that team. Now, even with £100 million, they couldn't get their man.
Lamar has made the right decision, because if you look at the history over the last few years of young players, top quality players going to Arsenal, they've got worse. Because there's no proper coaching going on, there's no development of players. You look at the likes of Wilshere, you look at likes of Oxlade-Chamberlain, you look at some of the Debussy coming in at right back. We've never heard of him for the last 2 years. There's a lot of players that have gone to Arshavin, was one of the top players in the world, came to Arsenal and went downhill. He was a shadow of himself by the time he left. So that's why players will not want to go to Arsenal at the moment, because of the management and the coaching at the football club, which is substandard.
As if we're picking on them a little bit, Arsenal, because there's other teams that didn't quite get all the transfers done, but it is frustrating because this is such a big club, such a successful club over the years, but it's just getting run down because of one guy's arrogance. Let's look at it from this point of view. You've got an unhappy player, as Robbo mentioned, in Sanchez, who hasn't got his move and is unlikely to be really rolling his sleeves up. Let's be frank about that. You've got Mesut Ozil, who goes in the missing list for all his talent. You've got Xhaka and Ramsey, who were absolutely rotten again at the weekend, and that's not the first time. They've let the Ox go, and they've got Theo Walcott and the likes on the bench. So, you know, just how are they going to drive forward with those names that I've mentioned?
Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck is your guy.
Danny Welbeck's the man.
That's a guy. That's a guy that'll take you where you need to. I don't understand, because okay, say you keep Alexis Sanchez, right? You've kept him. What is the best that you're going to do if you're Arsenal? What are you going to achieve this season? How about cash in? Cash in, because you're not competing for the title. If you're thinking that that's what's happening here, you're not. You're not competing for a top four. That's not happening either. And so, yes, cash in, take advantage of what the money that's available, and then, even more importantly, do something valuable with that money. Invest it properly. Evaluate the player that you want, that you need, and bring them in. Apparently, that's too difficult to do.
Gab, before I go back to you, I want to introduce Stuart Robson to the show. Robbo, of course, have got strong opinions about Arsene Wenger and Arsenal. What do you make of what we've seen happen in the transfer window regarding Alexis Sanchez, Robbo?
Here's a player, and we've just talked about it, who doesn't want to be at the club. And last year, when Arsene Wenger dropped him against Liverpool, he put it out in the press that Alexis Sanchez didn't do as much running as people said he did. He wasn't such a good team player as people said he was. They hung him out to dry. And this is a player that doesn't want to be there. And I think with the World Cup year, I think at Arsenal, he'll be injured for most of the time. He'll just keep himself ticking along. He won't give maximum performance. He'll be ready for Chile, because he doesn't have to put great performances in for Arsenal to be in top form for Chile come the World Cup. It's a bad move for Arsenal, I think, in keeping him. A few weeks ago, I'd have said it was a great move, but now he's a player that just doesn't want to be there.
It's interesting how things have changed, isn't it, over the last couple of months. Gab, I know you wanted to get in.
Aline hit the nail on the head. If you're Arsenal, this is what you've done. You've taken the £60 million, which is what, $75 million, and you have basically gone and made a big bonfire, and you have burned all that money basically as a point of pride, as some weirdo point of principle, as the illusion of finishing top four. They could have cashed in on Alexis Sanchez, and ironically on this, the excuse that they gave is, well, we would have been short on players. No, you would not have been short on players, because you still had Welbeck, Giroud, Lacazette, Mesut Ozil, Alex Iwobi. Plus, on the last day, if you're just interested in bodies, you still had Lucas Perez and Joel Campbell, both of whom Arsenal let go. Campbell's on loan, and Lucas Perez, I think they sold. So it's not a question of bodies. It's simply a question of thinking that an unhappy Alexis Sanchez for a year and then you lose him for nothing is a better option than 60 million so you can rebuild. And I think they made the wrong choice.
Are we not being a bit hypocritical here in the sense that we seem to be applauding Liverpool for standing firm and keeping Coutinho, yet we seem to be lamenting Alexis Sanchez and Arsenal because of the way this has been handled?
I think the situation with Coutinho would appear to me to be more manageable than the one with Sanchez. With that, which I think, and the boys have touched on it, I think it's run its course. I think it's run its course, his relationship with some of the players and his relationship with the manager, because clearly he's not stupid. He can see that Wenger is not progressing the club. There is an argument to say that Klopp is progressing Liverpool with the people they're bringing in and the job that he's doing and the background of recent years where he was successful with Dortmund. So I think the situation is slightly different. And the Fenway Group, of course, have dug their heels in